Honey, where are you going?
Where are you going?
Again? Just where are you going?
Where are you going? You're not going to the bar again, are you?
You like hanging out, drinking beer at the bar, talking sports? Come on out and join us weekly. Guys at the Bar Talking Sports, your podcast for just that. Hanging out, drinking some beer, talking sports. All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another week of Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. This is our 13th episode of our 5th season. Thank you all for joining us today. We have a lot in store for you today. We're going to be talking about Week 10 college football, some of those results. We're going to get into Week 11 college football as well. Some of those games we're going to be looking at. You got Alabama, LSU, Georgia, Ole Miss, BYU and Utah, and then, of course, Carolina playing number 24, Vanderbilt. Those are all going to be some good games, and we're also going to be talking about the top 12 from the College Playoff Committee and what they released yesterday. So keep on staying tuned in for that. If you want to follow us, you can go ahead and hit that subscribe button on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening through. If there's a bell, ring it so you get notified whenever we release a new episode, which we'll be releasing every Tuesday. And then you can buy us some beer. We all like beer, right? So buy us
alcoholic beverages are good.
Alcoholic beverages, and you can either come bring us beer. I mean, we'll accept it in the studio, or you can send us a Venmo, and you can do that on Venmo at Guys at the Bar Talking Sports is our handle. So you can go ahead and do that. We have a website, Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. We also got a Facebook group, Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. If you type in Guys at the Bar Talking Sports on your Google app, you're gonna get a lot of different results. So check us out. All right. Now let's get these introductions going. We have, I don't know if you'd call him a newcomer because he's been on the show before, but it's been a while since he's been on the show. We got my man Rooster. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Missed 2 weeks and all of a sudden I'm a newcomer. Wow.
I know.
Unbelievable.
Syracuse. Woo.
Little comeback victory last week. Did not show up in the first half, down 14-3, ended up winning the game in overtime, 38-31. Sealed it with a fumble at the end of the game. Showed some resiliency. Syracuse is not a team in the last couple of years that has been able to come out of halftime and do that. Good presser with Fran right after the game. He knows how to pump those kids up, treats them like adults, and shows them some accountability. And I'm excited. I just hope he stays.
That transfer portal is treating them right, huh?
You know, I think he did at first because he was down in Georgia. He had a big name for himself, but he's from New Jersey. So
okay.
New Jersey is a hotbed for talent. I think we're going to get a lot of that. That's where a lot of our talent came from. It had kind of swayed over to Rutgers for a little while. Even UConn was taking some of that talent. Of course, the big names were going out of state as well. But I think he's going to be able to draw some of that talent pool back in to Syracuse University, make him sustainable.
Sounds fun, man. We also have a new guy, a new name for a guy, apparently. What did you call him there, Chopper?
Good Brian Hunting.
Good Brian Hunting. But we're just going to stick with Mountain Man. Mountain Man, how you doing today, brother?
Good, buddy. How are you?
All right. You going to your first Carolina game this week?
It will not be my first.
Not this week, next week.
Yeah.
I'm going to the Missouri game, but it will be my second Carolina.
Okay. That'll be okay. Good time. I'll be there too, man. I'll look for you.
It's good to see he gets his experience that real football, not that Mountaineer football.
We got Choppa.
What's going on?
Doing all right today?
Yeah, enjoying this nice bush light.
Head for the mountains.
And some Nerds clusters at the same time. It's an amazing combo.
Try it.
Yeah.
Folks, try it. They are not our sponsors, but hey.
Mike Leach, love Nerds clusters.
Okay.
So you might
Mike
have
Leach,
to come
Mississippi
over.
State.
You might have to come over and use his bidet after that.
All right. So
anytime you have bush light, you're going to need a bidet.
Somebody wants to talk smack about the host, but we'll enjoy to introduce him too. We got my man himself, the Chief.
How you doing,
Chief?
I'm doing great. And
Got your Carolina shirt on today, I see.
got my North Carolina shirt on. Got
That's always basketball
two rows in a win.
Yeah, it is.
Two wins in a row.
It is a basketball season.
Yep.
UConn starts today. Florida played yesterday and won, by the way, so that's good. Those are the two teams.
My
I
other
generally
team
follow.
lost, though.
Who's your other team?
Clemson.
Oh, okay.
And they got their ass spanked. They played like shit.
Well, we're not talking basketball today, luckily.
We're talking about football.
So,
Right, we're talking about Louisville.
But we're getting into that game.
Well, calm down. He was just saying he wasn't talking about basketball.
Clarifying.
Okay, we got that. Cheeks, how you doing today?
Doing pretty fab.
How's NFL treating your team? So I can't ask you about USC.
I know. We don't even talk about USC
What are
anymore.
they? Yeah, they're having a really
I think they're
rough
0-50 or
season.
something. Yeah. No. NFL's good. Every week we try to lose, but we keep winning.
That's not true. They pulled away pretty hardcore, and Saquon had the play of the week.
Oh, they did not pull away.
No, they didn't pull away. Actually, Jacksonville pulled.
At halftime we were 16-0.
What was it, 28,
and then
23?
then we tried to lose really, really badly.
It was Jacksonville.
But that was that's in my what the fuck.
All right, so we'll save that for the end then.
Yes.
I wanted to ask everybody a question. I hope you all thought about this because I sent the message to you guys specifically making sure. And I'll give my example first, okay? The best year of sports that you ever had for your teams, right? Where it was like, man, we're on a high. Everything's going good. All my teams are doing well. And for me, it was... And this is more than 1 year, but it's 05 to 07. The Patriots won the Super Bowl. The Red Sox had just won the World Series in 04. The Gators were on top in both basketball and football back in those days, right? I mean, even the Celtics were getting ready to win the NBA championship in 2008. Like, everything was, like, pumping on all cylinders back then.
4 years, I think.
Say what?
Nothing.
4 years.
You said what year, not 4
Well,
years.
whatever, man. You could use whatever. But I'm just saying, like, those were good times back then. That's all for me. So I'm going to go with Cheeks on this one. What was your year? What was your best?
Mine's 1981. I stuck with the year.
Okay.
Mine's 1981. Now, we started off 1981 with the Eagles playing the Raiders in the Super Bowl.
How'd that go?
Didn't end as well as I would have hoped. I slept through the third quarter. I graduated high school that year.
Okay.
And then...
And you were a big football fan in high school, huh?
Yeah, huge
I'm proud of
football
you,
fan in high
Cheeks.
school. Thank you. I went to all my high school football games. We were state champs. Did
that help your year as well when you guys were state champs?
Yep.
Makes
We
your
were
happy
state
proud?
champs my senior year. Yeah, so it was phenomenal. And a lot of our guys went pro, too. Pennsauken High School in Pennsauken, New Jersey.
Nice.
But the Dodgers won the World Series that year
Okay.
with Ron Say, Fernando Valenzuela,
Breathing through his eyelids.
Steve Yeager. And then the 49ers had a phenomenal year in 81. And the 49ers became my adopted second place team because I went to high school with Dwight Hicks, and my mom was really good friends with his mom. And so I started following them because of that, fell in love with Dwight Clark and Joe Montana, and that was the season that they did the catch. And then they went on in 82, in January of 82, to win the Super Bowl.
Wow. All right.
So it was a pretty phenomenal year.
Mountain Man. I know it's hard to find good times in West Virginia, but
Boy, I don't know what the hell I did to deserve the West Virginia bashing. I have to go way back because it's not just West Virginia, but we've had a lot of success in that 4-year span you were talking about, 05, 06, 07, 08.
yeah.
But I got to go back to 1988. 1988, the Redskins won the Super Bowl. West Virginia finished undefeated and played Notre Dame in the Fiesta Bowl. We lost, but we were undefeated.
That's huge.
The Los Angeles Lakers were my favorite basketball team at the time. They beat the Detroit Pistons to win their back-to-back title. I think that was their fifth in the 80s. So those three things happened. I was only 10 years old, but I remember them like it was yesterday.
Those are foundations of
If you had told, now Washington did go on to win the Super Bowl a couple years later, but if you'd have told me that was pretty much it for them to enjoy it now, I wish someone had told me. But so 88 was probably as a child, everything. I mean, no matter what sport I followed, minus the Orioles, they did actually go 0-23 that year to start the season.
Oh.
But as far as like everything was on top for me was 1988. So.
Gotcha. Chief, how about you, my man?
Any of the 6 times North Carolina won the national championship.
Okay.
Here we go.
No, I mean, but that's huge, right? Like whenever, especially basketball. I mean, that's a Sweet 16. I mean, when you're in March Madness, it's amazing. It's
When you
all
go to
the
a
things going
basketball
on.
school, it's all about basketball.
Yeah.
Were
right.
you there for all 6 of them?
No, I wasn't there for 1957 with Frank McGuire, but I was there for I was alive for the other 5.
All right, Rooster. What do you got, man?
There was a young lad living in central New York in 1986. It was a very impressionable year.
Listeners, we're old. Let's just go with that. Okay.
No.
I said I was young. Anyways, in 1986, it was the tail end of the 85 season. The Bears.
Were you a Bears fan?
I am.
Oh, you
and,
are?
And
Okay,
I'm a
that's
Bears
right.
fan
Bears.
because my father was a New England fan. And
See,
he was
Super
a
Bowl.
Patriots fan. And so was my brother.
Were you doing the Super Bowl shuffle?
Well, absolutely. And what does the asshole youngest brother do to his brother and his father? He cheers for the other team. And how did it work out? The Bears destroyed the Patriots. And what was his name? Jim Grogan. Thank you, Sweetness Peyton. Thank you, Refrigerator Perry, also from South Carolina.
McMahon.
Okay,
McMahon.
McMahon.
Grogan was the quarterback for New
Yeah.
England.
I mean,
Sweetness.
you had so much power on that defense. I mean, it was just run the 46.
Is that when
baby.
they've had the Refrigerator Perry run it?
They did.
Run a
yeah.
1
yeah,
yard.
yeah, they did.
Tidbit about that game. Walter Payton didn't score a touchdown. They put
He
Fridge
didn't need
in.
to.
They put Fridge in.
He
Well,
didn't
Walter
need
Payton
to.
was pretty sour about it.
Well.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Anyways,
I remember that
later
story.
on that year, one of the greatest World Series of all times was played. The underdog Mets play the powerhouse Roger Clemens Red Sox.
Over at Red Sox, yes.
And
That-
in 1986, Mookie Betts
Darryl Strawberry was on the Mets team.
He was.
Yes.
There was a whole bunch of guys on that. That was a great team. Dwight Gooden.
Mookie Wilson.
Mookie Wilson.
Yeah, that's played on my team.
I'm sorry, Mookie Wilson.
Yeah.
Well, and where I was going with that was there was 2 Mookies, that there was 2 errors in the World Series. And because Mookie Wilson hits it too, Bill Buckner playing first base.
Oh, yeah.
He drops the ball. The Mets come back. The rest is history. The Mets win Game 7, and the Mets beat the Red Sox. My brother and my father were shattered, and I got to celebrate for an entire year of the Bears and the
I would
Mets
probably like your brother and your father.
beating.
Yeah.
My mother's not a Red Sox or a Patriots fan, so
Sorry.
That's the
What
first.
is she?
I think she's more of a Bills fan. We lived in Syracuse.
Yeah.
Bills fan, baseball, anybody but the Yankees.
But we see her on Guys at the Bar Talking Sports all the time.
Spencer's
coming
mom,
in
how's
December.
it going?
Coming in December.
She's going to be on the show.
Can't
I've
wait.
heard, I've heard she's going to make a feature appearance.
She's contemplating the contract, seeing what kind of incentives are involved. We'll see what happens.
Major incentives to come on the show. Trust
Maybe if
me.
we can get some of that Guys at the Bar money to get some scotch in here. After 2 scotches, she's got all the data.
All right, so we have one last.
Yeah, Rooster stole my thunder a little bit. 86 was my year too.
Is it really?
But I was a 7th grader living in Massachusetts
Oh,
in
okay.
1986, and there's one thing that you left out of that. You got baseball, you got the Patriots, you also have the Celtics. The Celtics had a great year. Larry Bird, Danny Ainge, Kevin McHale,
Dennis Johnson.
DJ,
Parrish.
Robert Parrish. That was my team right there.
Really?
So yeah,
Good fun,
And then
man.
The other 2, but 86, man.
They all almost made it.
7th grade.
Well, I think you guys just went with my question that I was going to ask next week, which is going to be, what year made you a sports fan?
I mean,
And now,
they're
we just
one
went
of
with
the same.
that.
They're one of the same.
Yeah, because the 86, that Red Sox and Patriots year is the year that I became a sports fan as well. That's the first time I watched the Super Bowl. That's the first time I watched a World Series as well.
Oh, I was
So-
5 years old.
Yeah, I mean,
I was
I was
born.
five-
my first Super Bowl. I'm probably a Redskins fan because my first Super Bowl I remember watching as a kid was 1982 season. 83 was Skins Dolphins Super Bowl 17.
Okay.
And
Man, am I old.
Mine was the Patriots. The Patriots playing the Bears that year, and then I watched the Red Sox, and then I can't remember what else. I think I watched the Celtics that year as well. Anyway,
1969. I remember seeing first Super Bowl. I remember seeing Joe Namath and the Jets.
And
And
Mets.
1969 World Series.
Miracle
Wasn't that the Mets? The Miracle Mets.
okay.
And I'm not a fan of either, but
You know, that
because
80
it was the World Series and
that 86
and the
World
Super Bowl.
Series was the first one I remember watching with my dad. I remember watching every game.
And we put a man on the moon. I remember
wow.
watching that.
It makes you a science fan.
Allegedly. All right,
Yeah,
let's move
we're
on.
on a podcast. We're not allowed to talk about
No,
things
but-
that may or may not have happened.
But after what happened yesterday, and I'm not saying I'm pro man or woman, I'm just saying I, as a child, was not allowed to go to any sporting events. Boys went, but girls did not. And my dad took my brother to all the Laker games and all the Dodgers games, and I was not allowed to go.
Completely different times, but boy, the economy was good back then. All right, let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's say
Yeah.
you're lucky to be on my show, okay?
Yes, because you guys treat me as an equal.
We are lucky to have cheeks
We
on
are
the show.
lucky
Let's
to
move
have
on. Let's
you.
get out of this one.
All right, top 12 poll came out yesterday, Tuesday night. We had Oregon, Georgia, Miami, BYU, Texas, Ohio State, Tennessee, Penn State, Indiana, Notre Dame, Alabama, Boise State. And those are your top 12. Obviously, I think that we could all agree that Oregon deserves to be there, right?
For
At
real.
number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, did they get Georgia right? Did they get Miami right? What are y'all's thoughts on this that just happened last night? Or does it even matter? Does it even matter? Because everything's going to play out in the end.
I want to hear Bitter Brian.
I see. Yeah, you're stretching
That's
your fist.
good. That's good, Brian Hunting, please. It's not your fault.
Two things. I mean, if you follow the Facebook talking yesterday,
That was the biggest vote of the year last night.
Everyone was concerned about Ohio State being ranked number 2. Who cares? Ohio State is number 5. Only thing that matters is that damn bracket. When
Wait.
that bracket came out last night, that's all that matters.
I got this completely wrong. I put in what I thought it was going to be. I just
You did.
told y'all what I thought it was going to be. Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
My bad.
that bracket is all that matters. I don't
But
care.
my friend Cheeks has the real one right here.
Yeah, the top 25 college football rankings this year does not matter because they've got this conference championship stuff for the top 4. Last year, when it was just the 4 teams, those rankings mattered because it mattered to number 4, 5, and 6. Right? That was always the top. Who's 4, 5, and 6?
Yeah.
Now, to me, who gives a shit if Ohio State's number 2? It doesn't matter. What matters is where does Tennessee, Indiana, and Penn State fall? That's what I'm looking
And how many teams is the SEC and the Big
Yes.
Ten going to get in?
Yeah, right.
based on how
That-
the ACC.
I love
and
that
Big
we're talking
12
about
play.
this. I think it's fun to talk about it. I know I poo-poo polls and everything, but where everybody's talking about the stupid poll, let's talk about the bracket because that's what matters at the end of the day.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so-
did you get it? Did you get it all out? Do you
Do you
feel
need
better?
It's not your
Do you
fault.
need
I
to
don't
use
feel
the
better.
bidet?
No, I don't feel better.
Okay, if you want to
It's not your
talk, if you want to talk bracket, then okay. So most
What is
likely-
it called? It's called the college football what? Playoff. What do they use? A bracket. Thank you.
All right.
It's not your fault.
So SEC champion. Right now, what you're looking at is possibly if Texas A&M wins out, they're easily going to be in the SEC championship, even though they lost to Carolina last week, right? Because they have one loss in the SEC right now.
Texas A&M?
Texas A&M.
Yes.
Yeah.
They
One
were
loss
undefeated.
in the SEC.
Yeah.
Don't they have two losses overall?
Yes.
They have two
but
losses overall, but that
lost
doesn't matter.
to the mighty Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Well, that could matter in the bracket.
You could.
It could matter, but no, it won't matter in the bracket at all. As
If,
long as
if they win out,
if they win
yes,
out, yeah.
but they're not going to.
Yeah. Okay. And then
never know. That's why
and
we
then
play the
another
game.
team that controls their own destiny is Texas. They have one loss as well. And then you have Georgia that has one loss, and then Tennessee has one SEC loss.
There's some elimination games built in there.
And Texas is playing an upcoming Florida, who's played a lot of teams so far, and look who Texas has played.
I'll be at that game on Saturday, and I didn't even put it on our conversation piece to talk about because I'm not sure where Florida's going to be. The quarterback situation is screwy right now.
True.
They look better. I'll just say that. But back to Chiefs' point, and we can get back to the bracket in a second. The Georgia game hardened Texas to the point where they're now in the same boat that Texas was after the loss to Alabama. So your back's against the corner, no holds barred. They're going to bring all their A game.
agree.
Georgia already knows that that's the situation for them. We may see those two teams possibly play again. The shocker for me, going back to the brackets, BYU, number 9. Shocking for me because I really thought they've played enough ranked teams. They've beat everybody in there. They played a strong SMU team. They've beat up the rest of the Big 12. I know we're going to get to this, but
They annihilated Kansas State.
yeah, I mean, annihilated Kansas State.
They play Kansas State in a couple of weeks, don't? Oh no, they played
they-
Kansas State.
yeah.
They
already.
beat the crap out of them.
That's right. They
I
got,
mean, their closest game is a strong SMU ACC contender, and it was 18-15. Everything else has been pretty much a blowout. Last week they were an underdog. They won by 14.
Yeah, I think it's just the other teams. It's not their fault. They're number 9.
But what if SMU wins out, right? But then they beat Miami in the ACC championship. Then we're looking at 2 ACC teams in the
Would we beat
playoffs.
them?
Do you think?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because you'll have 2 one-loss teams in the ACC. That'll be Miami and SMU. And then those 2 teams. That's the only way you get 2 teams in the ACC, in my opinion.
I just think that they're looking. I think
It depends. Big Ten and
yes, the Big Ten SEC bias. I think they're looking for any reason just to put one Big 12 and one ACC team.
I agree.
I
with
think
that.
only one of each
I mean,
team.
if you look at the rest of the season for some of these teams, Penn State does not play anybody for
Cupcake City.
the rest of the rest of
Right.
the season. But they could end up with 2 losses in the Big Ten championship game. So it just depends on how it all lays out.
So if Ohio State gets into the Big Ten championship, because Penn State already played them and lost, do they get in?
no, it's Oregon. It'd be a rematch.
Be Oregon and
Ohio
Ohio
State.
State.
yeah, that'll
Penn
be a
State's
rematch.
outside looking in for the Big Ten.
I feel like it's almost certain.
Unless Indiana pulls an upset.
Unless Ohio State loses another game.
Which would right now it looks like it would be
Indiana.
Would be the Indiana,
And then
yeah.
Indiana would go because they don't play Penn State.
Yeah.
So
That's kind of my point.
The Big Ten right now is on a trajectory for Ohio State, Oregon, unless Indiana beats Ohio State. That is
Oregon
going to
have
be
anybody left to play?
They don't have anyone else left to play there. I think they've played 7 conference games already.
So they play Maryland, Wisconsin, and Washington.
Okay, so they have-
all
they
of
played
those
6.
teams have 4 losses.
And are any of those games away?
the Wisconsin game.
Just the Wisconsin game,
And
which
they're
Wisconsin
bad.
has not
They're bad.
played well.
They've
at home.
sucked this season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't see it. Washington not playing well. Got to go to Oregon. Maryland has had sparks of greatness that has lasted for maybe a quarter or 2.
Yep.
I don't see any. Biggest concern I would have if I'm the Oregon coaches. How do I make sure my team is up and ready for these? Because they think
And
they've
not
already-
injured.
and not injured for sure.
I'm not thinking that Ohio State is the team that everyone thinks they are. I don't think everyone thinks they are the team anyway.
didn't
But
think they would
then again,
beat
they didn't
Penn
put them at
State.
number 2.
They did.
Are we gonna talk about the brackets? Because we're gonna talk about that game, right?
We're going to talk about that game. I'm just saying that Ohio State is going to be playing Indiana, in a couple weeks.
I mean, that's going to be both of their seasons is going to be that game.
And I think Indiana has a shot, but they haven't really been blowing people out. Either,
But another scenario,
I think they both get in the playoffs.
even a third scenario,
they both made the playoffs. It's who has the bye, who's in the Big Ten championship to get the bye.
So here's scenario after scenario. You got Indiana plays Ohio State. Ohio State pulls out another squeaker. Indiana loses. Ohio State goes to the Big Ten championship, plays Oregon again, loses. Now they're a 2-loss team. You got Indiana sitting in the stands. They're a 1-loss team. It's chaos, baby. The 12-team system is fun. It doesn't solve these problems.
It makes it more fun to talk about, in my opinion.
But I think Indiana has been blowing out teams. I think
They have 100%.
Yeah,
but
you said they're not, but
they just haven't. They haven't
They're
played
big games.
Nebraska.
The big games that they've been playing.
Nebraska 53-7.
Their strength
that
of
a big game, though?
Their strength of
Well,
schedule.
at the time we thought it was.
Right.
They beat Washington 31-17. They beat Michigan State 47-10. They
These
beat
are all
Nebraska 50.
low tier teams.
Their strength of schedule is 103.
Yeah, exactly.
So they got Michigan at home this coming weekend.
Which
then they have a bye.
Then they're at Ohio State. And I think
They take a bye before the Ohio State game.
You're right.
Okay?
They
So
got a bye.
they're going to have an extra week of rest and care. They should be well prepared for that game. They still got to go to the Horseshoe. Not an easy.
I mean, y'all
thing.
think a 2-loss.
If it was the other way around, if they were at home, I'd be thinking Indiana's got a strong shot, but I'm not sure.
Horseshoe's a tough place to play.
I mean, y'all.
But Oregon went in there and did it.
I mean, 2-loss Ohio State team still makes the playoffs.
I don't think so. Not if you got Indiana
Ohio
waiting.
State played at Oregon.
A 2-loss
Oh,
Ohio
is that
State
a
team makes the
neutral field?
playoffs.
Especially if they're 2
Oh,
losses
that
to the same
Oregon, I
team.
thought.
Yeah, a
Pretty
2-loss
sure.
Ohio State makes the
Because
playoffs.
it was
Yeah.
the time change.
Absolutely.
I don't
We
agree
got
with
two
that.
conversations.
I know,
on
I'm
the
trying to
table
figure out
right
what
now.
I'm listening to.
I don't agree that a 2-loss.
Who knocks them
Ohio
out?
State.
Who knocks them out? Like, if they don't get in, who does?
You have a ton of 1-loss teams way ahead of
Yeah,
them.
but how can you if you have a 2-loss Ohio State, but they beat Penn State, how can you put Penn State into
Yeah.
the playoff
You
when
can't.
they have 1 loss?
And they beat
Or in Indiana. I don't know the
Yeah.
answer to that one either, but why would, if you have 2 losses, you have 2 losses?
I think Ohio State goes in as a 9 seed. They're 8-9, it's 8-9.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, check this out. Iowa State has 1 loss right now. BYU has 0 losses right now.
Right.
Big 12. What if Iowa goes in and beats BYU in the Big 12 championship? Do they put 2 Big 12 teams into the playoff?
No.
Who do they put in? They
winner.
only put
Big
the
12
winner.
champion.
That'll be Iowa State. So BYU gets screwed just because of their
Well, we don't
strength
know.
of schedule.
We don't know if
Because
it's going to be Iowa State. Iowa State
No.
just blew a game.
I'm saying that what if that happens? Because they've only
Okay,
lost 1
well,
game so far.
You're saying-
What
let's
happens
just
then? If BYU loses in the championship game,
Yes.
regardless of who it is,
It's just one team.
Then what happens?
Yeah, each of them have 1 loss. Then they obviously have to put Iowa State in there. Does BYU still make it in?
No, we're going to put a 2-loss Ohio State team in there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to think about with
there's-
this, right? But those are scenarios I just came
But
up
what
with.
if BYU loses on Saturday?
They might,
Yeah.
yeah, and we're going to be talking about that.
Right.
So but I don't want to go.
So yeah,
I don't want to get ahead of
I
myself.
think the most important thing is this is week 9, and
Right.
we got a lot to play. It makes, and I posted this on the Facebook page. I posted just 2 examples of just crazy scenarios
Week 11.
on how this is going to be crazy fun.
Well,
The last-
Rooster wasn't here for 2 weeks. So.
Yeah.
This is a lot like
still my week
this is a
9.
lot like the 2007 season. You remember how crazy 2007 was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody was
This is
attrition all over the place.
Yeah, this is very similar.
You know, but I think, all the important games coming up, if you kind of look at the schedule, this is kind of like the last weekend where there has to be some pretty crazy upsets for that to impact this list. And then we start getting into, like, we got 3 weeks of intense games.
But let's not pretend like a 2-loss
Yeah.
SEC team can't win the SEC championship either.
I mean, you got
Oh,
I
absolutely.
mean, that's another, I know we like to, pet the ACC and treat them all good and everything. But there's a chance they could have 2 losses and they're champ.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of scenarios that can go down,
Yeah.
and SEC, Big Ten seem like the strongest have 4 each.
No, they are. That's the best 2 conferences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You
there's
see, Notre Dame's also a problem here.
yeah, and Notre Dame's gonna be in there unless they
and they have a
lose.
cupcake schedule. Where they
Yeah.
play
Army.
USC.
They got Army left.
Yeah, exactly.
And USC.
Don't sleep on Army. I'm just saying.
The way they
Their
beat
quar-
up, the way they beat up Navy, I don't think they'll have a problem with Army.
I'm just saying. Don't sleep on their quarterback.
Army's better than Navy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but both
year.
those teams are we're looking to go undefeated, except for they ran into Notre Dame, and I think Notre Dame has the.
We'll see.
has
Army
the
hasn't
blood.
played it yet. So
Didn't
we got,
Navy
that's true.
lose again this week?
No.
No, they won.
no, they lost to Notre Dame.
They lost
and
to
then,
Notre Dame, and
I don't know what they did.
They were
last
off, I think.
All right, let's get into last week's game, shall we?
We might as well. We couldn't.
Shall.
We couldn't actually come to a conclusion on the playoffs. I think the conclusion is a ton to play, a ton of fun games to watch, and scenarios are going to be building up. I mean, just like we always see in the playoff system, we're not going to know until after it's all said and done.
And that's
There's
my,
no locks.
And that's my argument of why I don't like talking about the poll. I'd rather look at the bracket as it is right now, as what they put out last night on the bracket, and nitpick 6, 7, 8, 9 seeds. Nitpick those and say, okay, Does Tennessee? Will Tennessee stay there? Well, like we were nitpicking Penn State. It was a good discussion. I mean, worrying about the conference championships, I think is kind of it is what it is. I mean, we're going to have 4 that gets a bye through conference championships.
That's true. Good
I think the back end of the bracket, like we used to do with the 4, we always. I say we, but people sat around the water coolers and talked about the 4th, 5th, and 16th.
And now it should be the 15th. So that's basically
I disagree. I think you're talking. I think 7, 8, 9 inside that bracket. The meat of that bracket is where you really, because who plays at home and then where do they go the next round?
Right.
You know what I mean?
All right, Florida played Georgia last week. Florida was winning at the half. Like, they were playing good football. DJ Lagway gets hurt, goes out with a soft tissue tear in his, what is it called?
His hamstring.
His hamstring. They took 3 interceptions. I mean, it was
Good old Carter.
everything was going Florida's way. Defense was playing strong, but what I watched, as soon as Lagway went down, that team's morale changed so significantly. I was like, fuck.
Well, the play.
I was like, I literally said it at MJ's bar. I was like, fuck, because I saw the crowd was like the Florida Gators fans went out of the game. The team, the morale on the sideline, everyone's sitting there just depressed. And I was like, all right, all hope is lost. And then they put this new kid in that came from Yale.
That's the problem.
And he actually came from Yale, but he never played at Yale, by the way. He never played a game at Yale. I think that Florida brought him on just to bring the GPA up a little bit, maybe, on the team. I don't know.
Good for the stats.
Good for padding the stats, exactly. And then they throw him in, and he goes 6 for like 19. I mean, it was really
He
bad.
threw 19 passes.
Yeah, but the first play that he came in on, ridiculous. I thought it was like 3rd and 10, and they threw a pass. It's like, why would you throw a pass with your brand new quarterback that's never played in college football before? It didn't make sense. But then again,
Against Georgia.
Against Georgia,
Well, Georgia put 9 in the box on him. Once Lagway went out, they put 9 in the box.
I'm going to go to bat here for Florida a little bit because their last 4 games has actually been pretty darn solid. They beat Mississippi State.
Almost beat Tennessee.
They beat UCF. They lost by 6 in overtime to Tennessee. They beat the crap out of a Kentucky team that had been showing spark, and then they played toe to toe and was winning in the heavyweight battle in the first half against Georgia. Texas better be ready. The only thing that I would have to say about this game is Texas is probably a little bit fresher than Florida. No, we're not at that game yet. But
Texas is coming off a bye week too.
Yeah, so I mean, I would say,
And it's in Texas.
but I mean, I don't know what the points are. I don't think it's been released yet. Let me check with the statistician there.
Yeah, it's probably 15 to 16 points.
No
I
way.
bet.
No,
No way.
the spread was out.
7.5 probably. That would be my guess.
With Lagway out of the game.
If Lagway's playing, do we know that yet?
They said that he may be able to play.
If Lagway plays, you have a chance. I really think you all could have
Spread's
beat
21 and a half.
21 and a half?
Yeah.
Hey,
That'll change Lagway.
So does anybody take that 21 and a half to the bank?
no, I take Florida.
Yeah.
not if Lagway ain't playing. Your boy from Yale, he ain't going.
No, not a chance. Yeah. I mean, but anyway, we're not talking about that game. I didn't even write it on my list to talk about because I didn't want to jinx myself when I fly out there or whatever. But this Georgia game, I saw some weakness in Georgia, man. I really did.
Well, their offense is definitely weak, but their defense held Florida to 228 yards.
Yeah.
Well, some of that was because of what happened.
Because of the Yale quarterback.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Let's face it. I mean,
Our running game, Florida's running game was solid the first and second quarter. Like they were getting, 8 and 9 yard runs regularly. They had a 15, 20 yard run a couple of times. Like Georgia was not impenetrable. And you've seen Georgia teams in the last several years, right? Like they've been a team that you can't run on them, you can't throw on them. That defense is just
Shut down
a
defense.
solid
Well,
brick
that's not
wall.
for
Well, Georgia's quarterback threw 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
he's
we started with
thrown
it.
3 interceptions in the last 5 games or
Something like
that.
that. It's some nutty number.
I mean, I feel
I'm glad they can make it back up, but
I feel vindicated because I sat here in September and said that guy is overrated.
he is.
He's
not that
consistently
good.
inconsistent.
He is not.
yeah, but he sleeps out of bed of money and he drives to class in his Lamborghini. Okay, I mean, I don't feel bad for the kid.
No.
Bottom line is, they're not the same. But I don't know that the defense is to blame if you got 3 turnovers by your quarterback in that situation. To your point, they still held him to under 228 yards.
Yeah.
That defense had 3 starters out against Alabama. That accounts for, I don't know, half the tackles for the team. Mm-hmm. We have a listener that's out there that pointed me out. He's a Georgia fan, and he's like, since we've gotten our team healthy, we've been pretty much destroying teams.
I will say this though, that Yale quarterback in the fourth quarter brought the team up, brought Florida to a tie game, 20-20. He brought the ball down the field like 84 yards against Georgia. So that Yale quarterback who has no confidence in himself whatsoever was able to score on Georgia. Like that says something about that defense, man. I think.
But can you imagine your first college game being against Georgia when you came from Yale?
If we want to talk about, he
was a 2-star quarterback coming out of high school.
If we want to talk about the Georgia playing against Ole Miss. Where I see that happening, and that's going to be later on the show. I'll talk about it later.
That's going to be this weekend.
Let's get on to we're talking about that later on in this show. Yes, so let's hop onto this.
Let's talk about the game.
Let's talk about the biggest game of the week. The biggest game of the week, probably one of the biggest upsets on South Carolina's resume. Georgia 2019 when they beat Georgia. They went to Georgia and won.
Went to Athens.
Yep, they went to Athens and won. Texas A&M comes in ranked 10th. Solid team for the last several weeks, right?
Tennessee came in, I believe it was 2 years ago, and
ranked 8th.
Ranked 8th, and we stormed the field in that one. I was there for that one, baby.
Yeah,
63 on them.
Well, that's what cost them $250,000 for storming the field.
So I tell you what,
a bunch of bushes.
Sellers looked like a guy that could not be tackled.
He looked fast, didn't he?
Yeah.
He's big.
Not as fast as Ashford.
He's 230 pounds.
He looked fast, faster than I've seen.
He is. Electric environment, though, right?
You were there,
The environment was just electric. It's amazing. They've been itching to have a night game there for a while now, and they got off to a fast start. Right? They got up 14 points on Texas A&M. Never looked back. I know Texas A&M kind of tied it up there.
2020,
but still, I mean, it was their game the whole game.
It was crazy, man. I wish I would have taken those tickets. I know you feel the same way, Brian.
Well, by the time I got back from volunteering at the golf tournament thing, I just crashed the house. But the one thing I'm impressed with, their MO is let's get up big and then let the team back in it. They did it again, but this time they pulled away and stayed away.
I was going to say, second half, Texas A&M didn't score any points. Now, granted, we have to remember Texas A&M wasn't playing without their starting quarterback. So that happens, or I think he got hurt after the first couple minutes of the game.
No, the backup started the game.
Yeah, okay.
Because of the way he played against LSU the week before. So that's
anyways, I think that was a bad choice by that coach. It's unfortunate because I like the Texas A&M coach there coming over from Duke. Yeah. And what I really thought he instilled was toughness. South Carolina smacked them in the mouth over and over and over again.
But by the end of the game, they'd given up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But Texas A&M looked like a slab of meat from Rocky by the end of that game.
They broke their wheel. Yeah.
they were broken by the end of that.
530 total yards of offense.
Oh, it was insane.
Yeah, and that's only the fifth quarterback to do over 500 yards, and the other quarterbacks that have done it are Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Tua, and Bryce Young.
Nice.
You got some
good stats for me.
Tua just spit all over me over there.
No Jaden Daniels on there, huh?
Nope.
Wow.
500 yards is pretty crazy. I mean,
Sellers is going to be pretty amazing next year.
How do y'all feel about the defense, though, man? Like, Carolina's defense is stout, dude.
I think that's the part that I wanted to go with on the shocking part for me is we didn't expect anything from this defense this year.
Right.
And
not at all. That was not the talk of the town in the beginning of the season.
Right. It was actually who the heck are these guys?
Yeah.
And how the heck are we going to stop all these big name teams coming in here? And if it's not coaching, I don't know what it is. But they put together these kids. They're playing with pride. They're playing tough. And how many sacks? Another game with over 4 sacks, over 5 sacks. The week before that, they went in Oklahoma, 9 sacks, 9 times on sacks. Okay, so
these guys are hungry to take that.
They're playing for something, and they're young and they're hungry and they're playing and they're competing and they're winning. I mean, this is a team that is literally 4 points away from being 7-1.
Yeah, I was going to say, to piggyback that, the sad thing is they got screwed against LSU.
We're not going to be able to change that.
I know, but I mean...
It is what it is.
In my mind, when you think about it, that was a win.
I could also say they're one little... if Sellers had put a pass on the hands in the back of the end zone of an wide open guy, instead he sailed it over 4 yards. That's football. You're going to have things like that happen. Never should have been that close against LSU, to be honest with you. Sellers got hurt, yada, yada, yada. We know what the history is. Right. But, I mean, they are competing, and it's a young team. They're going to have these mistakes. I mean, after the
he's young.
Yeah, and after the Georgia game, it was like off with his head for Sellers. The kid's a freshman. Yeah. He competed against a top 5 team, on a team that has 0 expectations. We're talking about a good team with goodwill, with good coaching.
Yeah,
they're dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Chief is Shane Beamer pretty much safe at Carolina at this point?
At this point, he's safe.
He's got a award.
He's more than safe. People are starting to be really happy with him because expectation was way low. He's delivering way above what they had even hoped for. They're 5-2. 5-3.
So
They've got Vandy this weekend,
But not an easy game, yeah.
No, not at all.
Two scrappy teams scrapping. That's going to
Yeah.
be fun.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun game
So
to watch.
it's-
And we have that on our list to talk about. Luckily,
So
I put that on
Shane
there.
Beamer, he's safe and everything, but is he safe from getting bought out by another team and leaving?
I don't think so,
I don't
because
think
Carolina's
so.
paying him a lot of money. And
You don't think if Virginia Tech offered him $8-9 million, he wouldn't
I
scoop?
think he's making $18 million here.
No,
Is that his
it's not.
buyout?
No, it's not 18.
No,
Oh, it's
he's
not
not
18?
18 million.
I think it was
What if Oklahoma comes?
I mean, that's a very real scenario. If Venables out, do they go to the Beamer well to bring him over to Oklahoma? A lot of money out there in order to land.
Or Virginia, Virginia Tech is.
Oklahoma.
I know Oklahoma.
I don't think Virginia Tech's gonna. There's a big difference. Yeah, his
Daddy coached there.
His dad coached there for 30-something years. I get that, but you got to look at it from the standpoint of he's an SEC coach, doing pretty well. He's not going to go to an ACC school.
That would be a step down.
That would be
He's
a
also
definite step down.
It's about money.
he claims South Carolina is home.
Yes.
So
I believe
Remember, he
that.
was a-
Did you guys hear the interview this
he
week
was an
when they were
assistant
asking
coach
him
here
about?
before.
They were asking him about when they sang the song to his wife for her birthday, and he said that he was getting crazy texts from all of the people that he was trying to get to come play for him next year, from the fathers, from the students in high school, and he's getting these texts talking about how cool that was, and they saw it on you.
So,
I mean, he gives everybody his cell phone number, but us, evidently.
so I like Beamer.
I got a cell phone number.
I like Beamer,
Okay.
but when I got here last year, I got here November 2nd last year, so it's been a year.
Yeah.
Things weren't too good here. The team was under the whole thing seemed disappointing. At least
Yeah.
the vibe I got, and I felt like there were some people who were ready to send him packing.
It was close.
So you're only as good as your next game, right?
Right.
Look, I'm not calling it the Neil Brown effect because we all loved Neil Brown at West Virginia last year.
Yeah.
Not the case this year. If they go in next year with high expectations and they're 4-4 out of the gate because it is the SEC,
That's
are
true.
people ready to send him packing again?
They're 5-3. What if they lose the rest of the games?
Right. If they
You
lose
know,
to
which
which
Vandy,
is possible.
Yeah, which is possible.
I
Yeah.
mean, Vandy and Clemson are on the schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually think
I mean, they're gonna be
the
Wofford,
team I
but-
saw play Texas A&M will beat Clemson.
I agree with you there.
Yeah.
Vandy's a different story. Then they've got one
Vandy's
sleeper
way
in
better
there.
than
They
anybody.
got
Yeah,
Missouri,
depends
Missouri and Wolford.
And they're playing at Vandy.
It depends on which team.
We're going to
wins,
get there, but closing out the Beamer conversation, I don't think Virginia Tech is a threat.
No.
I would consider probably Oklahoma would be more of a
Could
threat.
Auburn be a threat? Shane did.
No, I don't think so.
They're not getting rid of your coach yet.
I know, but not this year. But
Yeah.
They're gonna
Somebody's ready.
They're gonna wait for Sanders
they're
to
not
be
getting
ready.
rid of him. But
Yes.
could he eventually be a threat to go to Auburn? Shane?
Maybe. Yeah, you never know.
Well,
Like a
Is it an upgrade? I think
no,
not.
no, but it's kind of like a Tommy Tuberville from Ole Miss to Auburn move. Type, you know what I
I'm
mean?
pushing us
Yeah.
towards the Clemson
You know what I mean? It's kinda similar.
loss to Louisville at this
Kinda
point,
like the
guys.
guy.
Segue.
Yeah, I gotta get us to the Louisville versus Clemson game now. Okay, Louisville pounced on these Tigers on Saturday, going up 26-7 by the end of the third quarter. That's ridiculous, man. Chief,
At home, no less.
at home.
So,
night game.
Yeah.
What happened to your boys in Clemson, man?
It-
I thought
No.
that this was the team to beat in the ACC.
So did I.
I thought that Clemson was run on all cylinders after that Georgia loss, and we all said it last week too. Every one of us agreed that Clemson is.
Yep.
Just remember, I abstained last week, so I did not say that. But
You were not here. That's true.
But you picked
Pick
Clemson.
Clemson.
big Clemson.
So
We all picked
I have the
Clemson.
recording.
what's going on in Clemson, man? What's
You got me.
what's
That
the
was
problem?
such an abnormality. I was like, what is going on?
what the fuck?
You could-
was that gonna be your what the fuck?
It
Special
is,
cause
it is
variation.
now.
But Dabo admitted that he said that he made a lot of mistakes. He said, I had a coaching problem.
Yeah, was it? It
But
wasn't
that-
talent, was it? They were better than Louisville, right?
Only
It's not the
two block
talent.
field
Well,
goals.
Clemson has plenty of
And
talent.
there was a couple of missed calls there. There was one that was a severe face mask that Louisville committed against Clemson. It was shown on the replay like 3 times, and it didn't get called. Now, if you don't call it, we can't go back to the replay.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I was like, there was that, and there was one other call that were really just flagrant.
But they
As a
should've won
Carolina
that
fan,
game.
we feel really bad about your loss because of the refs.
Yeah.
But LSU. Okay. I'm going to go beyond or piggyback on that a little bit of. I think they had a little bit of an arrogance problem, and they weren't ready. Louisville is a good team, but not a great team this year. Okay?
correct.
So
Yeah.
I think they thought, we're rolling. We're going to continue to roll. It's Louisville. We always beat Louisville, and they slept on it.
Well, and Louisville is, I think, better. You look at who they played and how they played. Yeah, they've lost, but their losses are fairly close.
Oh, they're all close games.
Well, they had Miami on the ropes for sure.
They're no slouch, exactly. This is a team that can.
But if you
think
lined up,
Clemson was asleep at the
if you
wheel.
lined up Clemson and Louisville 10 times, Clemson's winning that game 9 times, right? I mean,
Well,
At least 7.
And this is
Yeah.
one that they lose.
That's one they lost.
And that really shut. They're not gonna make ACC championship because of that. They're not going to. They're not going to make the playoff because
They're going to have a very hard time. There's going to have to be a lot of
Well, that's
things
their
that
only.
happen.
Wait,
to make the
wait,
playoff.
wait.
Duke's Mayo Bowl is a good bowl. It's right up there in Charlotte.
That's hold on. That's their only ACC loss, right?
Yes.
So why would they're still in the hunt for the ACC championship?
But they still have to win out. They'll beat Citadel. I'm pretty sure.
They got Pitt, right?
They got Pitt. That's going to be a tough game.
Yeah.
And then they have
Undefeated
USC.
No, not anymore.
It's not undefeated anymore.
Oh, they lost
They
last
got
week.
their butt kicked. Thank you.
Right, which Pitt's going to be just as angry to get back in. So they've got Pitt
Yeah,
and they've
right.
got South Carolina left to play,
Which is not
and
conference.
Citadel. Thank God they've got
Again,
one win for sure.
That's 2 games that aren't conference games.
Yep.
So
I mean, if they have to go to Pitt, that's going to be a difficult. Pitt at home is one of the tougher,
Do you know where it is?
tougher
it's at Pitt.
teams.
It's
But
at
I
Pitt.
mean,
'Cause you got South
careful.
Carolina.
Slow down the Pitt at home shit. They get like 12,000 people to show up unless they're playing.
Yeah, but they all sit on the same end.
All right,
Is that why the stadium does it?
Yeah.
That's just a
To
joke.
fall into the Allegheny.
reel it back in, guys.
Oh,
Ready?
yeah.
All right,
Right.
so
Clemson sucks. Let's move on.
Clemson sucks. Let's go. All right. Last
Not
week,
your fault.
It's not your fault.
my good friend Mountain Man, the bad Mama Jama over there,
Mountaineer.
said that 110,000 people in the stadium, they couldn't find a quarterback, or they could find a quarterback.
You guys are making an argument why Michigan might win the game, and I said they have 110,000 people there, but none of them play quarterback.
Well, that's true, except for one, and that was Dylan Gabriel
Yeah, well, on the other team.
on the other team. Exactly. So, what happened with this game? Did anyone watch this game? Because I got to watch it.
I'll tell you what happened in this game.
Yeah, tell me more, man.
The last 2 minutes of the game, Penn State drives the ball all the way
Oregon
down.
versus Michigan, not Penn State
Yeah,
versus
obviously.
Ohio State.
Oh,
Sorry,
nobody cares.
I'm
about
talking
the
Oregon, Michigan.
Why are we talking about the Oregon-Michigan game?
All right, then let's move on, shall
Oregon's
we?
number 1, right? Is that what
That's true. Yeah,
It
but
was a typical Michigan shit beating.
Well,
like,
and the penalties are what killed Michigan more than anything.
no, it wasn't. It was their lack of
Let's
talent.
just
Their
say-
They
brilliant
had really
coach.
bad. They had a lot of penalties.
so Oregon, though, playing in the Big House,
Yeah.
had 2 penalties for 10 yards, and that's it.
Damn.
Those 110,000 fans, they
Yeah.
couldn't play quarterback, and they couldn't get the other team to fucking go off sides or anything.
Have y'all ever been?
Don't sugarcoat it. Tell
Have
us
you
how
ever
you
been to a
really
game
feel.
there?
Huh?
Have y'all ever been to a game at Michigan?
No.
I've been there 6
to.
times. It is the least intimidating stadium I've ever been to.
Oh, really?
because they sing the killer song.
It does not get loud. I
It's
mean,
pretty wide. Like,
It's that bowl
Yeah, it's-
lays out like this.
Okay.
It is. It's awesome. It was a cool experience. Great. Ann Arbor's a great town, but it is not intimidating.
Okay.
It's not.
Are they on their
intimidating.
second string
Well,
quarterback or their third string quarterback?
I don't
right
Just
now?
saying, Oregon didn't need any penalties when you play a bunch of no talent ass clowns like Michigan is this year.
All right.
Okay.
Two teams that did not have a bunch of no talent.
Ass clown.
Yeah, whatever. Penn State losing to
that's an
Ohio
argument.
State.
We can argue that.
That's an argument because both teams did not look like they were top performers, right?
This is one
Am
of
I
the-
wrong about this?
Penn State is the same Penn State they've been for the last 10 years.
Last 7.
But they both
Only been over
struggled.
7.
Like they both.
I don't know why I picked
They
Penn
both
State.
seemed to struggle. Both defenses seemed like they were playing pretty good, and it just really came down.
So
to
I
that.
watched the game on my phone,
Yeah.
on a magnet on the golf cart as I was volunteering.
Good
And
God.
I know when it got 10-0, I was like, oh, but boy, the minute it went 10-7, I could feel it all the way down here in South Carolina. PTSD kicking in.
Uh-huh.
They knew the game was over. I knew at 10-7, Ohio State's winning this game. You could just tell.
Well, James Franklin's one.
I mean, they are just a bunch of bet shitters, man. They are.
Yeah.
They can. I mean, for 1 second at 10-0, I thought, man, they might do this. And as soon as Ohio State scores, and even some, like you said, Ohio State played terrible. Will Howard fumbles the ball. I mean, that should have been a touchdown, so it probably could have been worse.
Yeah.
Penn State's just. They're just that team that beats normal teams but can't beat anybody good. They just can't do it. And
So the beginning of the
James
season we talked
Franklin.
about.
Yeah,
the beginning of the
he's-
season we talked about which coach is going to get fired, and I picked James Franklin.
He's not going to get fired.
He's not going to get fired
I think
for
he's
going,
gonna-
for going
10
11
and
and
2,
1, 10
11
and
and
2.
1.
He just can't get the job
That
done.
doesn't matter. You're still recruiting well. You still have your fans.
Who are you going to bring in that's going to do better?
And we
Sanders.
Signetti?
oh yeah, right.
I said this last week as well, so I don't want to repeat
Look around.
myself too much, but he replaced Joe Paterno, and Joe Paterno.
he replaced Bill O'Brien.
Sorry, okay. That being said, it's not like Penn State's been winning national championships so much in the last 40 years.
No, I mean he's not going anywhere. I mean,
Exactly.
The fan base,
So he's not going anywhere.
but the fan
Paterno only
base.
had one Oh, he had two, I think. Yeah.
82 and 86.
The fan base might be a little bit upset. They might be like, man, I sure wish we could beat Ohio State. And then as soon as they do it next year, somehow, then they're like, all right, we're the best. You know?
What happens is...
they'll lose to Indiana.
What will happen with them is,
Or
like
Michigan.
anybody else, they're going to make him get rid of some of his staff members. He's going to have to rehire staff.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, and it should be the offensive coordinator. Look at, as I was saying
they
earlier,
just brought that guy in, too.
Yeah, but he's just it looked like watching
I know.
paint dry. It looked like the Pittsburgh Steelers 2 years ago in Ben Roethlisberger's last freaking season when they were scoring 9 points a game. Like, that's what it looked like. It was slow. It was awful. There was nothing downfield.
Nope.
I just want to call out last 2 minutes of the game. There's about 2 minutes left. They get it all the way down the 4-yard line. They ran a similar play with the same result. 3 plays in a row. They got
Ridiculous.
They got 3 years. And they brought in a 320-pound tackle to run in motion all 3 plays. That guy was sucking wind after the first motion. He wasn't blocking anybody. Oh, by the way, running back, if you got a 320-pound guy running in motion, just follow him. The running back never followed the guy in motion doing kick-out blocks. It was awful.
Let's just remember, too, Penn State looked like crap in the first half against West Virginia. Mm-hmm. They almost lost to Bowling Green. Remember, Bowling Green took them to the last drive.
It was only, what, 4-point game?
Yeah, it came right down to
27-23 or something?
I think it was more in the 30s. It was a high score. They gave up a lot of points in that game. Wisconsin had them down until Drew Allard, whatever his last name is. He got hurt, and the backup come in and saved them. They could have lost to Wisconsin 2 weeks ago. So I don't know that they're any better than they were last year. I don't know.
Or the year before that.
Or the year before, the last 8 years.
Well,
whatever.
Penn State has been relatively good on defense for the last 5 or 6 years.
You know who Penn State is? They're Ole Miss.
You're
That's who Penn State is.
They're the opposite. It's like
They're the opposite. Yeah, Ole Miss is all offense, no defense.
If you had the Penn
They're all
State
defensive
defense
offense.
and the Ole Miss offense,
You've been impenetrable.
not bad.
Yeah, but Ole Miss beats
Just
everybody
like
except for Alabama
Yeah.
and Tennessee.
And Georgia.
Or Georgia. One of them.
Yeah,
Trade them out. Whatever.
Maybe James Franklin should go be the defensive coordinator for Ole Miss.
There you and bring all his
Yeah.
defensive players.
Or get
a good
old boy
idea.
to be the offensive coordinator at Penn State.
You know what? I'm sick of talking about the past.
Good.
Let's talk about the future, shall we?
Let's do it.
Yes, we
All
shall.
right. So we always play a game called "Who Wants to Beat a 5-Year-Old" in this challenge of Pick'em, right? So I am clearly losing to the 5-year-old at this point. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, you are by a lot.
By a lot, yeah. So he's way smarter than me. So don't trust your host when I say a team's going to win. But let's go ahead and see what Landon the Legend has to say, and then we're going to go ahead and do our picks as well, shall we?
Texas Tech. Clemson. I'm not sure what won that one, but I'll go Michigan. Ole Miss. I think LSU. I can't think. Utah. Vanderbilt.
Okay, let's do it.
So there is your Landon the Legend's legendary picks, and here is our picks. Okay, so first game we're going to talk about here, Week 11 college football. Number 20 Colorado at Texas Tech. Coach Prime is going into that game 6-2. He's coming off a bye week. Texas Tech is 6-3. Colorado's favored by 3, and we should have it. I think that Colorado will have an easy time scoring points against Texas Tech.
Yeah.
But then again, Texas Tech seems to be able to stay with their opponents pretty well and relies on the run game. And you know that Colorado has no way to stop the run game. So
Well, yeah. Will that keep the ball away from Colorado?
No.
No, Texas Tech is in the bottom 10 ranked nationally on coverage and tackling.
okay, so Colorado's going to have an easy time scoring against
Yeah,
Texas
Shador's
Tech.
going to be all over him.
But
Take the over.
He's,
okay.
Yeah, he's
Yes.
been great.
So who do you got on this game there, Mountain Man?
I mean, Colorado.
Really? So I think that there's a lot of changes in people's perspective of Colorado this season.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, you don't have to be a big fan of Dion or like Shador Sanders, but they're improved. Mm-hmm. They got the best player in the country playing for him. Mm-hmm. Shador has, since the Nebraska game, has pretty much kept his mouth shut and just let his performance show.
Okay, yeah, good point.
Dion's been relatively quiet, too, to be honest with you. I mean, as good as they are, you think you'd hear more about them, and you're really not hearing a whole lot. So,
We heard it last year.
yeah,
I
last
think
year they were terrible when they lost. Yeah. That's all you heard about.
The more he flapped his gums this year, the worse they got. So I think maybe they had a little powwow. And
Yeah, so-
they're reining it in a little bit.
But Colorado's going to win. Texas Tech is an odd. Texas Tech is old school Big 12. Like 50 points, it's going to take 50 to beat them. You know what I mean? So they're better than they were last year. But Colorado's got a destiny. I think they're going to be, as much as we probably going to hate to say it, they're going to have a shot at this playoff. I'm telling you.
You think they got a chance in the Big 12
The
championship?
Big 12
huh?
is so messy. Colorado
Yeah.
can backdoor right in there.
Yep.
And I would take them against anybody right now in the Big 12 championship.
Even BYU?
Even BYU. In a neutral site in Dallas, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. We'll go over to Chopper. Who do you got in this game,
everything
man?
you said.
Everything.
I'm going with Colorado.
All right.
Buffaloes. Yep.
Chief.
Easy.
Not so fast.
Wow.
Hey.
Okay,
Oh, we just learned you're almost the same age as Lee Corso, so good.
I think I'm older. Texas Tech just beat Iowa State. It was by a point, but they beat Iowa State. They both have played Arizona and Cincinnati. They both have beat Arizona and Cincinnati. It's at home. I think Texas Tech knows they can do it. And I look at they have 2 losses in the last 5 games. Texas Tech lost at TCU by a point, and they lost at home to Baylor. They did get by 24. They got beat hard.
2 bad teams, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. TCU.
So you got Texas Tech then?
I got Texas Tech for the upset.
All right.
We have a chance to come back and beat him.
So
Get my ears mixed up.
sometimes silence is deafening, right? In Colorado, the silence that you hear from there, like, it doesn't seem like they're braggadocious. I've watched Deion's press conferences as well. He's not having that same conversation he had last year, where he comes in there. He's still wearing his glasses and all that,
Yeah.
but he's a lot more humble this year in those press conferences. He has a mission. I think that you're onto something, but that silence is deafening, man, and I think that Colorado wins this game because I think that he does have that team locked in right now.
Yeah.
Not saying that they have the greatest defense in the world, but Shedeur Sanders is a great freaking quarterback,
great.
and he has a lot of good receivers around him.
Yeah.
He might not have 3 seconds to throw the ball every time he gets the ball, but all he needs is one, you know? All he needs to do is get out there and throw it, so I think that they'll do it. All right, Cheeks, who do you got?
I got Colorado. As much as I don't like the Sanders family, I got to give them props.
Yeah. All
Sounds
right.
personal.
It's
And
very personal.
I feel like Rooster over here is leaning in a... Where are you leaning on this game, Rooster?
I actually am going to agree with the crowd here. I got Colorado in this one. I think that everything that we just said, part of that lock-in, and I'm going to be a little, I guess, glass half empty on this one and a little bit pessimistic. This is Shedeur's year to get drafted in the NFL. We're talking about dollars. Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. And that's why the mouth is shut. Mm-hmm. And I think that they're starting to make a play toward that. Las Vegas is looking like a good place that has a lot of money for good old Shedeur and a team that doesn't have a quarterback. I think he's going to show out, and I think he's going to win this game.
Lock and load, man. Yep.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, shut your face and frickin' play some football.
And
Be draftable.
I don't mean anything by this, but he changed his hairstyle. He's not doing the watch stuff. A lot of that happens when those guys are getting ready to get drafted. They change their image a little bit.
That's true. Good point. Okay.
He needed to.
Number 19, Clemson, is heading up to Virginia to play Virginia Tech. After last week's performance, I suspect Clemson's got a second wake-up call for the season, right? They had their wake-up call against Georgia. They had the wake-up call, even more of a wake-up call against Louisville, because that was a game that they're expected to win. I'm looking at this game right here, and I see a team that they're playing against Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech held their own against Miami 38-34. They did lose, but still, Virginia Tech has
Allegedly.
a chance.
Yeah.
That's true. That was there was some stuff that happened in that game. That's a good point.
I was sitting in the Hawaii airport down in Maui Airport, and I'm like,
We were
caught that ball.
MJs.
He caught that ball, yeah. So, that being said, though, Virginia Tech can win this game. They're at home. Who do you got, Cheeks, on this game? I'm going to let you make the first call.
Thank you. I definitely have Clemson on this one. Dabo's not going to make the mistakes he made last week. And I feel bad for Virginia Tech because I think they're going to get embarrassed because I think Clemson's going to go balls to the wall and they're going to take out the revenge that they wanted to do in Louisville, and they're going to take it out on Virginia Tech.
All right.
Revenge Tour 2024. Put me down for Clemson.
Second revenge tour of the season, huh? The last several games they're going to be on a revenge tour. Chief, you're
Clemson.
winning this whole. You got Clemson.
They've all said it all. This
All
is
right.
revenge tour.
I mean, just Virginia Tech's a little beat up. They just heads have got to be down a little bit after being up 14-3 at the Syracuse Dome, and then allowing 28 points in the second half.
Yeah.
And then losing on a fumble. They're missing something to win good games, and that's that. I mean, I think it started with the Miami BS call. I think it carries over into this game. I think their heads are down. I think they're going to try to do something, but Clemson's going to go in there with a little attitude. And I got Clemson 31, Virginia Tech 17.
All right.
I think they're going to win by 3 touchdowns.
Chopper!
I think it's
Put your money where your mouth is, Chiefs.
what I'll call a recovery game for Clemson,
He owes me a beer. I'm good with that.
where they can recover from last week. against Virginia Tech, Clemson.
Clemson, okay. And Mountain Man, Maljama.
He's doing some homework. He's
Bad
he's
Mamma
conferring
Jamma.
with the statisticians.
Yeah. So,
Are you calling people in Vegas right now on this thing?
my boys in the desert.
All right.
People in Vegas call him.
Yeah.
Clearly they call
So they know
cheap.
how to go against.
Actually.
Clemson. Virginia Tech's. They're very disappointing this year, and their coach
Past 6 years.
Fry, I don't know what his last name is, but
It's not Beamer.
yeah, it's not Beamer. So I think his back's against the wall. I think I don't know how things are in Blacksburg right now, but things haven't been good for a while. Clemson, I think Clemson's gonna be pissed off. Dabo, you gotta give him credit. He gets the boys ready to play when. I don't know what his record is after a loss, but I'm sure it's really good. But yeah, Clemson's going to win. But the place, Virginia Tech is an intimidating place to play, but it just doesn't have that aura anymore.
What
It
what
used
song?
to be Enter Sandman.
Enter
What
Sandman.
song do they play?
Enter
Enter
Sandman.
Sandman.
Yeah.
When you go up to Blacksburg, they're going to be playing it loud. They're going to be playing it.
They play it every
proud.
week, and they're 5-4.
And they're
And it's still not as loud as Death Valley.
and I'm telling you, Clemson's going to go in there and shut that fucking sound down.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now,
they're gonna
You're on
win.
the F-bomb train.
On a side note,
Yeah, I'm saying the same thing.
You okay?
on a side note,
Sorry, fans.
We should do
this
shots.
spring Metallica is
Should've been
playing
shots.
a concert at Blacksburg.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. They
This
built
weekend they are?
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh, in the spring.
Do
Oh.
they close with Enter Sandman? Probably.
open.
Yeah. All right.
We're both
Do they open and close? Ooh.
acoustic and electric.
Yeah, there is no
Okay,
acoustic.
has no. Although they did have some.
Yeah, we got Miley Cyrus sing like she has.
If there's a team that has a quarterback problem, without me telling you which team it is, who is it?
Michigan.
Michigan. Okay. Michigan's going to Indiana, number 8 Indiana, undefeated Indiana, by the way. Michigan has had one win in the last 4 weeks. They are
Indiana
still-
on the board. Can we move on? Good
Yeah.
lord.
Does everyone say Indiana?
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to talk about Michigan quarterback a little bit more.
Do you?
Kidding.
Oh,
Okay.
good. Thank God.
Their third
All right.
string guy
All right, throw
used
us
to sell
all.
bubble gum to my mom's brother's sister's
Next
uncles
year
and
we'll talk
aunts.
about
Yeah.
Michigan having a quarterback.
I think they've played 5 quarterbacks in the last
Week?
last 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a shame. You got, I think, a coach that's there that is a decent coach. He's
Yep.
trying to hold the reins together. They just don't have. They've lost a ton of talent. Everybody knows they lost a ton of talent.
They're
The
going to
guy's
have
in
a good
bad
recruiting
spot.
year, though.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Like he's going to get his roots in. Like let's move on.
I
Mel.
mean,
Come on.
he's kind of, I don't know, man. He got handpicked because he replaced Harbaugh a few times last year, and sometimes those sentimental handpicked follow me up when you leave the cupboard bare don't always work out. I cannot believe that as much money and as a name brand as Michigan is.
They kept the backup coach.
No, not the
blows
stat-
my mind.
They,
They didn't.
They couldn't buy a quarterback. They could
Oh.
not buy a damn quarterback.
Yeah.
I cannot believe.
Yeah, especially when you had the names that were out there.
Yeah.
I
just
thought
can't
There's a kid named McCord that's sitting at Syracuse and not Michigan right now, and that would have been a hell of a.
Yeah.
I mean, there was McCord, there was Cam Ward, there was KJ Jefferson. There's a ton of guys that were more than worth it.
But-
Dylan Gabriel.
You have a brand new coach that was given the reins after the national championship, right? And
But
I don't know.
their running back stayed. I mean, they
Yeah,
had
but
guys
if you
to stay.
only one of the running backs. If you look at first-year coaches' records over the course of the years, if you're a first-year coach,
it's not good.
it is under 500. Okay, so and after a national championship, after you have a little bit of an exodus,
And
come
you
on.
lose your head coach after that.
That's what I'm saying. Like you're a first-year coach, you just got done with the national championship. Pipeline's a little bit dry. People went to go play for big name Harbaugh, so then the portal opens up. The guy's got some battles he's going to have to win first, and this year's not the year he's going to be able to do it.
It's really strange. I thought Michigan would, like I thought with Notre Dame back when they got Marcus Freeman after what's his name left to LSU.
Brian
Yeah, Brian Kelly. When he left LSU, I was like, why did they keep Marcus? But that was actually a good decision. Marcus
Yeah,
Freeman
but if you remember
was
the next-
able.
His first game, he lost to Marshall.
Yeah,
Yeah, but they were what 9-3 that year. They weren't great.
But he
That
was
is pretty
able
not
to
great.
he was able to
Move
keep
on.
the
I was gonna say
program.
9-3. I would take any day.
Yeah.
Right.
He was able to keep the program at the same level that it had been.
It kept guys from transferring.
Yeah,
That was a
exactly.
big move.
Marcus Freeman,
Yeah.
they had buy-in and so forth, but nobody, not that nobody transferred from Michigan, everyone freaking left because they went to the NFL, and now you have a coach that maybe doesn't have the same system in place that Harbaugh had.
Maybe there's a reason Harbaugh left because he's looking at the roster and he's like,
I'm out of
I
here.
think probation was the big.
Yeah, I was gonna say his
Whatever.
because he got in trouble.
whatever. And all that bad press. Like Indiana wins this game 31, Michigan 14. Let's move on.
All right, everyone said Indiana.
Yep.
Number 2, Georgia, playing number 16 Ole Miss. I think this is the game of the week.
Do you really?
College game day is going to Alabama versus
We'll talk about the
LSU.
game of the week last, please.
Yeah. Okay.
Huh? Oh, what do you mean?
That's the game of the week.
Alabama LSU?
That's
No.
what
Yes.
I thought so.
That'd be the
I
game
agree
of
with
the week.
Alabama LSU.
That's an elimination game.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Okay, let's go back to Georgia.
let's
against
go
Ole
back to
Miss.
Georgia Ole Miss. That's the game of the week.
It's not the game.
No, it's not.
This is going to be
It's your game.
You're the host. It's your.
All right.
We'll talk about it, though.
It's not your
Big matchup this week, and Ole Miss has 2 losses. They don't want to have a third one. Obviously, that's going to keep them out of the SEC champion or not out of the playoffs for sure. They're not even in the conversation for playoffs right now. But if they do beat Georgia, obviously now we're saying, hey, Ole Miss is somewhere in that playoff picture, right?
Are we?
Huh?
Are we saying that?
Huh?
Yeah, well,
They beat Georgia, number
out
2?
there?
So that's. I think the
Georgia
conversation
was-
is.
You don't think that next week, if Ole Miss wins and on Tuesday they release those numbers, you don't think Ole Miss jumps up 4
Ole
spots?
Miss and Georgia.
I think
ran,
the
or
bigger
they
conversation is what's wrong with Georgia.
You don't change the script right now. Okay,
think we don't.
We're talking about if Ole Miss wins.
Yeah.
I just
So
don't think. I don't think that. I don't know.
Here's the bottom line.
Georgia struggled against Florida and Kentucky.
I'm not saying they can't. Georgia could lose this game.
Georgia. Okay.
I'm saying the conversation around this game will be what the hell's wrong with Georgia? Not oh my god, Ole Miss is suddenly good.
It's
Clear that Georgia's got a problem.
It's clear that Georgia has a problem, and when they lose at Ole Miss this week, put me down for Ole Miss, by the way. When they lose
is
to
why you're
Ole Miss
last.
this week, this is why I'm last. But
Not so fast.
all right, who do you got there,
Ole
my
Miss.
friend? You got Ole Miss too.
Oh, I
So-
like this. This is my opportunity.
and I'm telling you,
Yeah.
when Chief says Ole Miss, I'm in good company. Let's just say that.
Well, he's going down next week.
Yes.
I'm glad you're just giving up a point because I'm going to say not so fast
Yeah.
So Carson Beck does not throw 3 interceptions this week.
against a passive Ole Miss defense.
Ole
No.
Miss's defense is better than it had been in the past.
Good. Oh, good. You just went from a level 1 defense to level 2. Good job. You're in the freaking SEC.
even if he does, they're still going to win.
You don't think that
Is there
Jackson
a ri-
Dart can put up at least 300 yards against Georgia?
This is the same. No, wait a minute, hold on. This same Jackson Dart that we watched play against. Who was it that they only scored like 10 points and lost this year? Was it LSU or who was it they lost to?
Anybody that
Texas A&M. I mean, it was
anybody that they played of significance.
Yeah, I mean, they just. I mean, they just.
Lane Kiffin is the James Franklin
Thank you.
SEC coach.
Ole Miss is Penn State.
All right, so who do you got, Chopper?
That's Spider-Man.
Georgia locks this one down.
Georgia locks this
Yeah,
one
you
down.
know, typically I would go. I like the underdog, you know, and I like the Ole Miss story, and I'd like to see that, but Georgia's got too much.
You don't want anything rocking that SEC boat, do you? That'll really mess up the SEC.
I picked Ole Miss to win the national championship
He did,
last
yeah.
year. Yeah.
So
Oh, okay.
clearly, you're going with Georgia. Okay, we got the.
And
put
here's why.
Mountain Mama down for Georgia.
I got him.
And here's why. And I've got Georgia as well. Lane Kiffin does not know how to play against physical teams. I don't know what happened to South Carolina. I was at the Ole Miss South Carolina game. I don't know what happened to South Carolina in that
Fake
game.
punt.
They never came to the table with any kind of strategy. I don't know if it was coaching. I don't know what. Kirby Smart doesn't get outcoached by
Just Nick
by Lane Kiffin. If there's one thing that I'm going to believe of all time, Kirby Smart will always beat Lane Kiffin. I don't care what team he's on. Georgia 41 by math. Ole Miss 17.
That's it.
Oh, big.
Yeah,
Jackson Dart's going down.
Yeah,
huh?
I think it's a blowout. I'm with him.
Constantly being sacked.
and that's
I'm
only
up
because
and
Ole
down.
Miss scores in the fourth quarter late.
Jackson
All right.
Dart. Jackson Dart's another one that's kind of like Carson Beck. He's overhyped. He's done. Name something he's done. Name a game like Jackson Dart did it. Name a game. You can't.
What's the
He put up
spread on this
500
game?
yards last week.
Rooster.
Who'd they play?
Huh?
Who'd they play?
Who'd they play? I can't
Let me
remember.
check it out.
Yeah.
Let me check with the
Check with the people in the back. I remember. I just don't remember.
He had 500 yards.
500 yards last
The
week. yeah.
line is 2.5.
Okay.
I love that. I know where my money's going to be this week.
All right. Alabama, number 11, playing number 14 LSU. I don't know how y'all can think that that's the game of the week when
I
you
think
have
it is.
Georgia, number 2, playing number 16. Like, the numbers just don't add up. That's 18 total. Like, if you had 16 plus 2, that's 18. Or 14 plus 11.
Are you shitting me?
Sounds
What?
like an SEC
This is an
guy
elimination. This
talking-
is like the
yeah.
Yeah,
elimination
that's
game.
why it's an
Yeah,
elimination game.
Yeah,
I mean,
Alabama LSU is always big.
You're talking about Alabama. Is this the? I mean, for the Paul Feinbaum of the world, is this the end of Alabama's dynasty? Is this Brian Kelly's biggest choke? This is LSU and Alabama. When
Both
you think-
teams are 6 and 2.
When you think,
Yeah,
in
the
that
The
world,
loser's done.
The
Yeah.
loser gets 3 losses.
The loser
on
has
record.
barely a
Which
postseason.
is
in
big
that
for
world,
either
in
one.
that world, 3 losses. The
Yeah,
guy here
you're
just
done.
said, "Oh, that's no good. 9-3. That's terrible. That's an awful season." I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking. When you look, and maybe it's because I'm from the little Big 12, but when I think of SEC, the 2 teams that pop up right away are LSU and Alabama every time. Not even Georgia. LSU, Alabama.
Really?
Because those games throughout the years have been the best games.
So it is in It is in Death Valley.
Yeah.
It's a night game at 7:30.
Baton Rouge.
Probably the hardest place to play in all of college football.
No doubt the hardest place.
It's a 7-point
they're both-
swing on any bets that you've ever, or any lines that are out there.
Who's favored?
When you play in LSU at night, if you were a 14-point
Alabama.
favorite, you just became a 7-point favorite. It favors LSU extremely.
So
They're
But
both
Vegas-
coming off a bye week.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's unusual.
No,
They are, yeah.
That's on purpose.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Trust me. These two run the. They run the SEC.
So, who do you have on this game, my favorite mountain man himself?
I'm gonna go with Alabama.
Who do you got winning?
Hey,
Alabama.
Alabama.
Hey,
Okay.
It sounded dicey when you said it like that, okay?
All right. I'll cut that out. I'll
no,
cut
no.
that out of the show.
It's
Let me mark
okay. Hey,
down-
we're an open cast here, okay? If you
Open cast.
you love whoever you want to love, okay? It's going to be okay.
I'm thinking
Sorry.
Alabama.
Alabama. All right.
Okay.
Cheeks. Who do you got on this game?
I picked Alabama too.
Alabama.
Yeah.
All right, man. Chopper. What are you thinking about this game? You're a big. You love some like you. Every time you say no one loses in Death Valley
I
at
said it
night.
I said it last week.
He
about
said
South
this for 5
Carolina-
years straight.
South Carolina and A&M that they would not come in tonight at nighttime and beat them in their state. Alabama doesn't come in and beat LSU at nighttime.
So the spread's 3 points,
LSU.
which is basically a pick, in my
LSU.
opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
LSU beats them,
Chief, what you got, man?
and the world just crumbles for Alabama. They might get a fourth loss.
I think this is your
At the end of
dream,
November.
actually, not so much
Well,
reality.
when the morale, when Alabama's the team morale goes from like high to really low, Auburn just might be able to beat those guys, man. Top
That's what I'm
50,
saying.
top 50 offense,
4-8 Auburn
top
team at
50
the end.
defense.
Okay, big guy, it's not your fault either.
Yep,
Not my fault.
4-8. But you know
You
that'll
did
be
Ben Affleck to his Matt Damon.
Chief. Chief, who do you got in this game? Alabama or LSU?
So LSU has had one tough. They lost Texas A&M, who lost South Carolina. Okay,
Which means South Carolina's better.
They barely squeaked by Ole Miss in 29-26 in overtime 2 weeks prior to that. They beat Arkansas. They beat San Antonio. I don't even know who USA is.
Yeah.
UTSA.
UTSA.
Well, USA.
Beat Peeps.
University of
Had a great team
San
last year.
Antonio.
Southern Alabama.
Texas San Antonio.
Great team last year.
And then they beat UCLA, but that's not saying a whole lot. Alabama, on the other hand,
UCLA. sucks.
crushed Missouri. They beat Tennessee by a touchdown.
lost to Vanderbilt.
So they lost.
I'm sorry, lost to Tennessee and lost to Vanderbilt, but it was close in both games. They beat South Carolina by 2 points, and they beat Georgia.
So you're going with Alabama?
No, I'm going with LSU.
Ooh.
Not so fast.
That's a long road to get there.
It was a long road.
Hey, I got to get my minutes in.
He's paid 5 minutes.
Of all the hype.
He's paid by the word. Okay, every word.
By the word. Well, it all started. No.
For score.
Let me get some Robert Frost stuff going. Over the hill, over the bayou down in LSU. No. I think that Alabama knows that this is a make or break game. And they're going all in. I don't think that Brian Kelly is a good enough coach to win this game, and that's what I'm going back on. I think the talent's on the field. I think the environment is there for him. I watched A&M kick the shit out of LSU in the second half a couple weeks ago. Okay, I just don't think we watched University of South Carolina almost beat
Listen.
in a highly favored game.
All of
I
that
know,
stuff is
I-
great, and none of that matters.
I know when you
that
register on the Richter scale. I know what the environment is, but I gotta tell you, it's not what it was. It's not what it was.
It's not.
Alabama
Right.
wins. This is going to be a real close game. Nail biter, baby. Alabama wins.
Yeah, so
Defensive game?
I don't.
Not at all.
It's going to
Historically,
be.
In the 20s, right?
I think I've got the over under in this game somewhere around 60. To be honest with you.
60.
I think so. Did I already give my pick?
You did not.
All right. Sorry, I drank a little too much already. Maybe.
Would you just-
So I don't remember, huh?
Bidet's
Nothing,
down
man.
that
It's
way.
just, it just goes down quick. That's all. All right. So
Yeah, headed for the mountains
So
sometimes.
good.
yes, heading for the mountains with some Bush Light. That's all
Not
it
your
is.
fault.
All right. So not so fast. Whoever was just anyway. Alabama's going to win this game. LSU's been.
That's what I just said. Don't give me the not so fast on that one.
Okay, whatever. Alabama's going to win this game, and the reason why is because LSU's been struggling against any top-tier opponents they've played, right?
Yep.
So Alabama goes into Death Valley and wins at night.
They almost
win
lost at home to Ole Miss.
at night.
Yeah, they've struggled through most of their season.
Yep.
Brian Kelly and Nussmeier.
Overtime.
The team's about as good as Brian Kelly's Southern accent. Okay.
Oh God.
Let's move on.
This might be a game that we're just going to move on from as well. BYU at Utah. Undefeated BYU looks to keep their record untarnished. Utah was the powerhouse in the mountains a couple years ago. They're not anymore.
No, Utah's
Mormons
4-4.
against Mormons. The battle out in BYU. It's pretty much a home game for both teams. They're like 50 miles apart.
I mean, don't sleep. This game is they hate each other.
It is a tough game every day.
Holy War is.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like 25 miles apart or whatever it is. But look, this game would mean more if Utah wasn't so hurt. They're missing missing their quarterbacks, and BYU's going to win. But I'm telling you, this game it ain't going to be a walk in the park for BYU.
No, and it's at Ute. So
It's in Salt Lake. Yeah,
But it's a home game for both teams. Who wins?
no, it's not. It's not a home game for both teams.
Pretty much.
No, it's not. See, this is. You guys got to get out and experience the other conferences a little bit. This
BYU loses a lot when they go there.
Yeah,
BYU's 8-0 going into this
BYU
game.
wins.
Yeah.
BYU wins this game not because Utah was hurt. Utah don't have their full arsenal. That's why.
I'll say this right now. I'm actually concerned about the Utah program. They put a lot of stock into
Cam
a kid that could not stay healthy.
Yeah.
What's he on, like year 19? I mean,
He's a doctor now.
whatever. But like, I'm concerned about the Utah program. Somebody that like a couple years ago,
Dr. Cam.
Dr. Rising.
didn't Utah go into Florida like 2 years ago? and beat them? Anyways,
With Cam Rising.
Kindergarten with Bo Nix.
I'm concerned that Utah. Obviously, I got BYU in this game.
All right.
I'm actually concerned about the direction of the Utah program overall.
Yeah.
And
Are you getting paid for your words as well? I didn't think that was in your contract, but go ahead.
let's review our contract. And don't forget.
Is anybody
We have my
got
mom
Utah?
coming. That's still in contract talks that I have
Shoot,
a lot of influence over.
That's going to be.
He's got a point about Utah, though. He really does.
Yeah.
Because they're supposed to
4
be
and
the
4. When's the last time they were? When's the last time they
It's
were
been a
lost?
while, yeah.
10
for
years?
sure.
They're
Yeah.
supposed to be the Alabama of the Big 12. It ain't happening.
Their uniforms are gorgeous. They're wearing all red.
They're sexy. Don't
Yeah,
get me
they
wrong.
are.
For Mormons.
They're totally sexy.
Not that Mormons aren't sexy. I don't know what that means. Let's move on.
I think that's an oxymoron.
So I don't know if I'm going too far here, but there's a Jew that plays for BYU.
The quarterback.
The quarterback.
BYU.
Right?
Jew.
I was BYU Jew.
That's what he calls himself.
That's
That's what he calls
So
himself.
I'm allowed to say that on the radio.
Yes.
All right, there we
I don't
go.
know if you're allowed to say there's a Jew. I think
The Jew from
there's
BYU.
a Jewish religious person.
He
that's on
calls
the
himself
team.
the BYU. That's his
The
handle.
BYU.
Yeah.
Okay,
He's making money off of
We're
it.
gonna go with that.
Yeah.
I think that BYU has a lot to lose if they do lose this game, so they're not going to lose this game.
They're
man.
not gonna.
And obviously Utah. So
I
let's
agree
go
with
around the
you.
table really fast.
Now it's also at 2015 at 10:15 at night. So
7:15 there.
7:15.
Yeah.
right, but I'm talking about us. We may wait until the next morning to find out who won.
I'm just saying.
it happens
We're
a
all
lot
getting
lately.
old.
Don't sleep on that. Just don't sleep on that game. It's a big deal.
I wake up at 3
So
in the
who's
morning
at
to check my
BYU?
stats. Okay, does
Are
everyone
you-
got BYU?
Everyone does.
Chieftain, you got BYU over there,
Yes,
man?
sir.
All right. The last game, I saved this for last because it's as local presence. We got South Carolina at Vanderbilt coming off a huge win against Texas A&M last week. The Gamecocks certainly want to knock out another ranked opponent, and they have another chance to knock off a ranked opponent this season as well. I think they have 2 more chances to not. No, it's just 1. That being said, Vandy will have something to say about that because they've been taking out teams like Alabama. So, and it's in Tennessee.
Auburn.
It's in Nashville. Is there a chance that Vanderbilt loses this game to the Carolina Gamecocks? Let's go ahead with Chief. I'm going to
Yeah.
put you on the spot with this
Absolutely.
game. There's
Yeah.
a chance that they win.
No, South Carolina's going to win.
No, they're going to win.
Going to win.
All right. Let's
By
go
the way,
with.
the line is South Carolina by 3. So close game, but South Carolina after beating Texas A&M, as good as they looked, Lenore Sellers getting her stuff back together. Yes, Vandy's good. Don't get me wrong, but Vandy doesn't have the defense that South Carolina has.
This is a matter of which team believes themselves the most.
Absolutely.
But
I actually don't believe that. Both of these teams believe in themselves a ton. This is going to be a game of who gets the turnovers, who gets the luck,
This
who
could
gets
be the
calls.
most exciting game on Saturday.
I'm telling you, this is the game of the week.
Who
This
would
is
have thought?
2 scrappy ass teams
if I
going
could-
in that had 0
Scrappy
expectations.
If I told you in
Fucking
January
Scooby-Doo
of this
scrappy, are
year,
you kidding me?
If I told you in January of this year that the world's going to tune into South Carolina at Vanderbilt, you'd have thought we were crazy.
I think South Carolina actually probably has a chance to come out flat against Vanderbilt. Not the way they did against Texas A&M.
I don't think there's any effing
And if
chance
they come
to
out,
come out flat.
I don't know.
I just think that
have that feeling.
where I see this and
And half the fans are going to be South Carolina fans.
Well, Liz and Glenn will be there.
Yeah, we do. I know some
Well,
people will be there. but-
Liz and Glenn are going to
I
tip
think
the
they're
scales.
yeah.
When they're there, yeah, they're
You
sure
just changed my mind.
They're
And
make
just
sure it's
because
so
of them,
loud.
just because of them, I picked Vandy.
You did?
Because every time I pick the other team, USC wins.
All right. So, does everyone say South Carolina?
I'm going Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt.
Yeah,
okay.
I actually think Vanderbilt's playing well, and I just don't think South Carolina on the road will get up to play a Vandy team. I just don't see it. I just don't feel it.
Is
I don't
Vanderbilt
feel
really
it.
a hard place to play? I
don't
mean,
feel it.
I know they beat Alabama there. I think Alabama.
I don't think it's a hard place to play. I think it's a hard place to get up and excited.
Well, not
to
now.
play.
I mean, look.
You know what I mean?
But yeah,
I mean, that's why I think South Carolina comes out flat.
I like South Carolina because I like the fact that they're getting Vanderbilt now. There's no secret. Vanderbilt's good. There's no more, Alabama came off beating Georgia. Vanderbilt got them at the right time. And, Texas come in flat because they lost to Georgia. Or how, so Vanderbilt got them at the right time. That ain't going to happen now. South Carolina's going to treat Vandy like they're Alabama, like they're Georgia. I think talent, talent, South Carolina's better. I think South Carolina wins the game. I don't know that it's not a hard place to get up for. I don't know that there's going to be the crowd, but I mean, it's going to be a pro South Carolina crowd probably.
So you got Carolina winning?
I got Carolina winning, yeah.
All
I mean,
right.
it's going to be a really good game, but
Who am I missing?
Me. I have not had
I
my
thought you
pick
made
yet.
yourself clear.
On Vanderbilt?
Yeah, I put USC for you.
So, Rooster, who do you got?
Not so fast?
Not so fast. I think that the tip of the scale is there's a couple things here. I think it's a 4:15 game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
3:15 their time.
We got 3:15 their time. If it was a night game, might be different. It's not like going to Vanderbilt is not a intimidating place, but it's still home. Vanderbilt at home this year beat Alabama, beat Ball State,
Big game.
Yeah.
beat Elkhorn, beat Virginia Tech. They're undefeated at home.
No, that's not true. They lost to Texas at home.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. They lost by 3 at home to Texas.
Who came off a loss to Georgia, mind you.
They
Sure.
Hold on, but what we've talked about this whole thing is like Clemson going in, they're going to beat the crap out of Virginia Tech this week because they lost last week. Shouldn't Texas have been doing the same thing after losing to Georgia?
Vanderbilt's not.
You would think.
Vanderbilt's not Virginia Tech.
It's not the same.
Vanderbilt beat Virginia Tech, remember? So.
What I'm saying is that Texas is a much better team than Vanderbilt. They should have blown the socks off of them. Anyway, that being said, Carolina's going in there to win that game. Put me down for Carolina. What do you got?
I've got Vanderbilt in the picks. Carolina in my heart.
I'm with you. Same with me.
Yeah.
Same.
All right.
But that doesn't make you feel warm inside. I don't know what does, listeners.
Yeah.
Let's get together.
You know what makes
it's almost
me
the holidays.
You know what makes me feel warm inside when I say, "What the fuck?"
What the fuck? Well, you said it a couple times already tonight.
Yeah.
I did, I know.
Why are you shortening it?
I might have to cut some of those out so that way
That's
listening will
good.
show.
Yeah, man. Just speed them up. Nobody will understand it.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so that's
The
fine.
Chipmunks.
Does anyone have a good what the fuck? Who wants to start? What the
I'll
fuck?
piggyback off of the last game we just played. Mine is the Vanderbilt Commodores owning the state of Alabama, beating both Auburn and Alabama for the first time since 1955. That's huge.
What the fuck,
Yeah,
Vandy, man, Vandy.
Owning the state of Alabama. Who'da
No one thought that. They were supposed to be 1-11, or
my
1-11
gosh.
this
What the
season,
fuck?
or something like that.
Oh, and we said Mizzou was going to be the exact opposite.
I know. I thought
They
were
fell on their
gonna-
faces.
I thought Mizzou was going at least to the SEC championship.
Yeah.
That being said,
Props to
does
Vandy.
anyone else have a good what the fuck moment
I have
for
a-
the week?
I don't have a what the fuck. I have a who the fuck.
Who the fuck?
Who the fuck is Lemoyne? You know where I'm going with this?
Did almost beat Syracuse?
So college basketball started.
Is this where you're going with this?
Yes, college basketball started. I'm watching West Virginia, kick the shit out of Robert Morris. So I flip it over and I see Syracuse is playing Lemoyne. Never heard of him. I apologize to Lemoyne graduates out there.
Let me educate you.
They were beating Syracuse a half by 9.
Let me educate you.
Okay, educate me.
Let's talk about the Lemoyne Dolphins.
The Dolphins?
2-time Division III lacrosse champions.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Where
That
are
helps
they?
a lot basketball, doesn't it?
And also 7 miles down the street from Syracuse University.
Oh, nice.
This is an in-city rivalry that Lemoyne won only 4 years ago.
Wait, they're not even near the water and they're dolphins?
They're not near the ocean.
We have Great Lakes and also other
Oh, there's
lakes.
often dolphins
And
in
Finger
lakes.
Yeah, there's not a
There's
single
always
dolphin
dolphins in a lake.
There's not a single
There
David dolphin
could
in the
be
Finger
dolphins
Lakes.
that came in through the St. Lawrence River. You don't know. There's alligators all the way up in freaking Sumter. Don't give me this shit.
They're like the Flint Tropics.
Anyways.
There's alligators.
There's sharks there, too.
Clemson extension.
Anyways. The Lemoyne.
Anyway, that's my Lemoyne.
Anyways.
Now you know.
So the funny thing is
Thanks for
that
asking.
Lemoyne has always been like the redheaded stepchild in Syracuse. And I don't apologize to Lemoyne people. I'm from Syracuse. I can say it if I want. All right? So... But one year, Jim Boeheim, the king of the zone, the 2-3 zone, he refused to play the 2-3 zone against Lemoyne, and he played man the entire game. Lemoyne won the game, and Jim Boeheim's words in the presser were, "Now you know why we don't play man." Nice. However, new coach, Red doing good things up there. It's going to be a tough season for Syracuse. They got a lot of new people there. Let's not talk about basketball right now. Thanks a lot for the what the fuck. Thanks for throwing the jab in there. Your football team sucks.
Mountain Man, did you expect all that from asking that question? I don't think you did.
Back in the day, I used to go to Lemoyne Mart to buy my beer. I was 16. Thanks a lot, Lemoyne Mart.
I can't wait for Mother Rooster to get here, so we can. I got a lot more Syracuse.
She
questions.
knows about Lemoyne Mart.
I got a lot more Syracuse questions.
I know. I cannot wait to meet your mom. All right,
it's gonna be an ugly day for
How I Met Your Mother.
What the fuck?
The Rooster's gonna be really quiet that day.
I was wondering about that, yeah. Yeah.
Not so fast.
I'm also going to just drink coffee.
Oh my god.
Bullshit.
You're going to be a saint.
Total bullshit. We're going to get sloshed before
We're going to get sloshy before we do that show.
Yeah,
We're going to make your mom do shots.
Yes.
She doesn't do shots very good, but hey, I've said things about her before.
She can do large sets.
I'm actually saying she doesn't do shots just so when she comes here, she does shots. Because she likes to prove me wrong as much as I like to prove her wrong. Here we go.
Shakes, who do you got? Man, I see a what the fuck written down on your notes.
Yeah, so...
Thank you for bringing notes, by the way.
Thank you. So Sunday was a tough day for me watching my Eagles because I wanted Sirianni's head on a platter. Because if you guys hadn't seen it, he tried for a 2-point conversion 3 times and failed every time. And that hard-headed bastard would not give it up. He kept doing it over and over and over, and we kept not doing it. I don't know who we thought they were. And not only that, but 2 times we were within a decent field goal vicinity, and he decided on the 4th...
Field goal range, I guess.
Yeah, range. Yeah,
Is that like on the field?
And he decided to go on 4th down, try and go for the first down, turned it over to the Jaguars. So the Jaguars, our lovely Trevor Lawrence of former Clemson, was 16 for 31 and sucked so bad. And yet the game almost got ruined, and he almost won. It was only 5 points at the end. But the thing is, they sucked worse than we did. And Sirianni needs to be fired.
What the fuck?
What the fuck?
What the fuck?
You know who else does that? Goes for 2 is Brian Daboll for the Giants. He
If it doesn't work the first time, give up.
Yeah, Washington beat them, but there was a chance to get that game. Like he kept keeping it a 2-score game because of missed 2 points.
Yeah, it's really funny how
it's just stupid.
How the attitudes of people change things. If you were a fan of the Detroit Lions, you would hate their coach because he goes for it on 4th down, and he has lost complete football games. Not won them by 5 in the NFL, but lost
he's made
them.
some bad decisions.
He sure has.
Last
but guess
year
what?
especially.
The people in Detroit effing love that guy.
What the fuck, Detroit fans?
But the people in Philadelphia are not those.
I know.
They salute Santa Claus.
This is just. They threw batteries at Santa Claus for crying out loud. All right, here we go.
What the fuzz? Does anyone got what the fuzz?
I already spoke mine, James Franklin. What the fuzz is the matter with you?
Chief, what the fuck? All right, let's go and wrap this show up. Thank you all for coming out and listening to the guys with Bar Talking. See ya.
Honey, where are you going?
Where are you going?
Again? Just where are you going?
Where are you going? You're not going to the bar again, are you?
You like hanging out, drinking beer at the bar, talking sports? Come on out and join us.